Welcome guys, so in this video we are taking off the AC compressor off of a 1.7 Puma, which has AC obviously. Some variants don't. It's a similar setup to some of the Fiestas as well. You can get AC or non-AC versions, and we want to take it off for weight saving. The AC has already been disconnected for racing anyway, but a lot of the components are still there, so we want to take the weight out. On a non-AC Puma or Fiesta, the power steering pump is where the AC compressor is. So the problem is then you have to buy the alternative power steering pump that situates where the AC was, and then the associated components for that. You need to buy those as well, and it will be different hoses and all that sort of stuff. Basically it's a bit of a pain and a bit of a cost. Whereas I've found a way of doing the same thing, but all I'm doing is buying a belt, 12 quid, because I'm rerouting the way the belt runs around the auxiliaries. So the power steering stays where it is, the AC gets taken off, it saves some weight, some good weight actually, and it only costs 12 quid. It's brilliant. And I've not seen this online anywhere, so I've just rerouted it. Have a look at the video, see what I've done and how I've done it. So with these 1.7 Pumas, they have the air conditioning compressor at the bottom right hand side if you're looking at the belts side of the engine. So that's that one just down here. Above there you've got the alternator, then you've got the water pump over there. Then further in, it's very difficult to see, you have at the back there, which is the pulley for the power steering. You've got another just a wheel that is under there somewhere that makes the belt miss the engine mount. And then below the power steering one you have the tensioner, and then at the bottom obviously you got the crank. So if you look down here, there's the crank, there's the tensioner. Original belt diagram for the Puma 1.7 with air conditioning. So what we've got here then is you've got the power steering pump up here. This is just an idler pulley. This is the tensioner. Then you've got the water pump here, and then the crankshaft. And then over here, this is what we're removing. So this is the AC compressor. And then there's just an alternator up in the corner there. So this diagram isn't very representative actually, because this tensioner is not really there. It looks like it's in a straight line between the crank and the power steering pump, but it's not at all. So what is the actual case is that is more like here. So the belt goes down like this and then across and around that way. So what I'm doing is I'm getting rid of this. So this is going, I'll cross that out. So then we need to make sure everything rotates in the same direction. And basically what I did on a previous drawing was I drew the direction of each and then just followed it around with the belt to see which way everything was going. And then when I come up with my new design, I just checked that it would still maintain the same rotation for each item, and it does perfectly. So what happens now is we basically go down from here, and don't forget this tensioner is much further out, and then we go, instead of going up to the water pump, we're going to go down to the crank like this, and then this won't be here because we're going to come round here with a belt. So you go all the way up here and you go round the water pump like that, and across to the alternator, and then up like that. Yep, so there you go. Alright, so pretty crude drawing, but there you go. So this is not there either. So then you're taking out this whole corner, and then this piece, there will not be a belt there. Alright, so that's it, and that achieves everything it needs to achieve. This tensioner still puts tension enough on the belt. You saw what I did on the video, you will see shortly, about making sure you measure the new belt correctly, and I'll show you the belt length in this picture here. So you can see by the part number how long that is. And yeah, you'll see what I did to hold the tensioner out while I measured for the new belt length, and also how to fit the belt. There's a nice little easy way where you can block this. You can put your spanner on it and then put a wedge of wood between that and the next piece of steel on the frame of the car, and then it moves the tensioner in, so you've got 2 free hands, and then you can wind the belt round as you need to. So yeah, all is good. There you go. Nice little trick fix there for you. So what I did was I saw where the tension was on the belt and where the tensioner position was, and then I wedged a block of wood between the that bit of steel behind it and the tensioner, and basically kept it in the position it was in, and it basically pushed the belt onto the tensioner at the same time. Then I used some tin snips and I cut the belt from the front. So I cut it here in between the alternator and the air conditioning compressor. I cut it across there, held onto both pieces, and the belt didn't fling off or anything. So I held the top bit where it was, just down here, and then I took the bottom piece of the belt and I took it off of the AC compressor. I took it back to the crank, basically, because it used to come around this water pump like this and then back over the back tensioner and then come back round to the crank. But basically now we're running it from the crank straight up over the back of the water pump along here and then around the front of the alternator, and it means everything still runs in the right direction, and the ribbed piece of the belt is on the ribbed pulleys, and the back of the belt, the smooth piece, is on the water pump as usual, and it all works fine, and it just basically misses out the AC compressor, which is what we're about to take off. So the next step then is to take off this little beauty. So basically they're just 13mm bolts. There's only 4 of them, so it's just a case of undoing those and it should drop off. The pipes are already cut, you can see that, so the AC's been degassed and it's been taken out because of safety for racing, etc. So they've just not removed anything, they've just basically chopped the pipes. So these 4 come out pretty easy, really. This bottom right hand one was a bit more of a pain just because it's where it is. It probably gets more muck thrown at it and it gets a bit more seized up. Well, that came out alright. And I think what's going to happen is by removing this, not only are we going to save weight and we're going to not sap the engine of so much power, you can see the oil filter behind, so it's going to make that changing that a lot easier. And obviously everything's a lot easier when you remove the headlight and the bumper, but still it's quite easy access. So when it's off, this is what you're left with: a load of stones from the gravel trap, and like I said, you can change the oil filter much easier now, so that's good. It does come off pretty easy. You have to just move this heater hose just out of the way for this top left bolt, only just slightly, and then that comes down. The worst part of it actually is the connector. So if you see the unit here, there is this connector on the side, if you can just see down there. So this connector here, and that is situated on this left hand side of it, just here. I took the whole unit off before disconnecting the connector on purpose, just because it was really difficult to get off, and I thought if I've got it sitting upright like this I can see what to do. So here's the connector, and it is really annoying. Very difficult to get off, very difficult to focus on. Here we go. Right, so there it is. And what you do is there's a tab here, so that tab needs to come up to get it off. So I just managed to get the screwdriver under the top here, prise it upwards, and then it came off easy. It's just definitely easier if you take this whole thing off first, and then you can prise it up at the top and then it will come out. So the other thing to take care of is this piece here. So you can just see that in there. So this is part of the power steering system, and there's 2 or 3 pipes. There's 3 actually, yeah, there's 3 pipes, 2 on this bit and then 1 further down over there on the left. So these 2 look like they go around here as a cooler. I don't really know what this is. It looks like it might be a cooler or something for the fluid in there. And now we've removed the AC. They was like the AC was sandwiched between the block and this. All I'm going to do with this, I think it'll be quite straightforward, is I'm going to get the, let's just get those back in there. So the long bolts that went through the AC, if I just poke those back in there, I can put that one in here and do it up. And what I'll do is I'll make a spacer up, and just put this one back in just to show what's going on. That one goes in there. Just do that up quickly a little bit. So yeah, I'll make up some spacers. I tried pushing it back towards the block, but it bends the pipes too much. I don't think they want to flex that much, so I think I'll just make up a couple of spacers and bolt these here, and then that'll hang nicely. That'll probably be cooler than it was before anyway, and you still get access to the filter, etc. So all looks good. Alright, excellent. So I'm just going to show you the spacers that I put on the big long bolts to hold the pipes for the steering once I took the air conditioning compressor off. So let me just move the camera around there. Hopefully you can see this nice and well. Right, yeah, there you go. So I just got some stainless steel tube that I had, and I've just cut it to length and screwed them in nice and tight, and there you go. You've got the same distance maintained. The steering pipes are in the same position they always was. It doesn't get in the way of anything, it doesn't flex or anything, it's all good. That'll be a nice easy quick fix, and it's so much easier now when you're changing the oil, as you can see. Much easier to do that and undo that filter with your hand. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Hope you enjoyed the video and got something from it. Take it easy, guys. Thank you very much. Bye.